Yay, Baltimore. Winning isn't everything. I've now had my third death threat. This one wasn't in a PM, this is actually on my channel. So I am keeping score. So far, the death threats I've received from atheists number 0, and the death threats I've received from Christians equal 1, and the death threats from Muslims 2. So Muslims, you're ahead of the game. I need more death threats, actually, because I don't know if the camera's picking this up, but I've got a real cool grey thing going on in this beard. Now, I've never been one to consider dyeing my hair. Unfortunately, it's grey at the sides, but this bit on the top's kind of throwing the whole look out. So I need more stress, please. So I don't want to dye my hair. I want it all to go grey because I think it's a really cool look, and I just can't wait. So more stress, more death threats. Please bring them. They're very welcome indeed. I want to talk a bit about the gender of God. Not the gender, the gender of God. This probably doesn't apply to the Muslims because the Quran was written 600 years after the Bible. And they were clever enough to realise that giving your God a sex, a gender, is kind of ludicrous. But the Christians who wrote their book 600 years earlier were still a bit amateurish about how to create a religion and all, so they made he a he, him a he, capital H. So by doing this, they're obviously telling us that God has got a pair, and God has got a penis. Am I allowed to say penis on YouTube? I think I am. It's fascinating. I was wondering if there's any theists out there who could draw me a picture of God's genitalia, because I'm having difficulty imagining a hairy pair of balls underneath some of those Michelangelo paintings, and it's disturbing me. I mean, is the sack wrinkly? Or would a divine scrotum be smooth and shiny? Would it radiate light? In some of the paintings that I've seen, some of the iconography, there's a lot of glowing going on, and I'm wondering if some of that is coming from divine spherical places. Also, if God made the Big Bang, then he must be fireproof. And I mean, otherwise, you know, those balls would have been vaporized, atomized, quarkified. Now, I'm the first to come up with quarkified. If you ever hear that, that came from me first. And just think of the pubic hair. I mean, that's some seriously strong stuff. We don't need miracles on earth with just one of God's pubic hairs, assuming it could be reproduced. We would be able to make completely bulletproof suits which would weigh no more than cotton. But if he's got a pair of balls, doesn't that mean that occasionally he might sit down on his heavenly throne and sit accidentally on, say, the left one? The left one's always the one that I sit on. Girls won't understand what it's like to sit on a ghoulie. The men will know exactly what I mean. Which brings me to what God would say, or how he would say it if he did sit on his left divine testicle. Because some of you will probably be saying, my God doesn't have a pair of hairy balls. I mean, that's an even more bizarre image, but okay, let's say he hasn't got a pair of hairy balls. That means he's got a high-pitched, whiny, squeaky voice. There's no mention of this in the Bible. I think God's voice is supposed to boom. That really implies a pair of testicles several orders of magnitude beyond the human. It's a deep philosophical question, and I want it answered by a Christian. I want to know what God's balls look like. Is there anything different about... I mean, does God get jock itch? This is never covered in the Bible. No one ever talks about this. I've never heard a sermon in a church referring to the length of God's fingernails, what God deems the right length for scratching his balls. We need to know the optimum fingernail length. The men know what I'm talking about. And this information is being hidden from us. It may be in the Vatican. They've got some stuff down there that we haven't seen yet. And that there may be a whole new book that we haven't heard about. I'm not quite sure what it'd be called. The Gospel of Scrotum? I'm being facetious, but you call him a he. That means he's got a dick. And that's just stupid. But then it all is, isn't it?